Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Playmaker podcast. This is the basketball edition. Man, make it the NBA edition of the Playmakers podcast. You know me, you know my voice, Darnell the Playmaker Sallins. I am here. I am so excited to talk some basketball, to talk NBA with you guys. You know, the NBA getting started off on October 22nd, Tuesday. It's going to be good. Basketball is here. A lot of things happen during the off season. We're going to get into it. So first up, Kevin Durant leaves Golden State, signs with Brooklyn. Kyrie Irving leaves Boston, signs with Brooklyn. Kawhi Leonard, the two-time Finals MVP, who just coming off winning the title in Toronto, leaves Toronto, heads home to LA, but to the Clippers, not the Lakers. And he brought Paul George with him from OKC. The Lakers, on the other hand, they bring in Anthony Davis to team up with LeBron James. The battle for LA is here. LA will be the center mark of the NBA world, of the basketball world this season, with the Lakers and the Clippers. Go figure. Mike Conley is in Utah, playing with Donovan Mitchell and the crew. Utah trying to upgrade from Rookie River to Mike Conley. Let's see how that works out. Hey, Bradley Beal signed a new deal with the Washington Wizards. Good for him. He deserves every penny of it. But it's his team now. John Wall would not be there for the season. Jimmy Butler's down in Miami, playing for Pat Riley. Oh, that should be sweet. This boy Tyler Hero, I'm looking forward to watching him. He's going to be special. He's going to be special. I want to see him and Jimmy Butler do work together. Matter of fact, speaking of these, we got to talk Philly. They lose J.J. Redick, they lose Jimmy Butler, but they bring in Al Horford from Boston. So you got Al Horford, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris. Philly looking prime and ready to take over the East for once. But will they do it? Because the Greek Freak is still out in Milwaukee. They did lose Malcolm Brogdon. They lose a three-point shooter. Yeah, that hurts. But the rest of the team is still there. Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe. You know, they still got the crew. So I'm not going to be too down on Milwaukee. But it's going to be interesting to see Milwaukee, Philly, Boston. I'm going to throw Brooklyn in there, the battle for the East. My Magics, we really didn't make no offseason move. We kept Terrence Ross. Good thing. We signed Nukic. We kept Aaron Gordon. You know. We got a young team still, but we'll see what Steve Alford do in his I believe his third year with the team after making the playoffs last year. Surprisingly, we'll see what we can build off on that and what we got going on because Miami's got better. We're also looking at Atlanta. Trae Young second year, see what they can do. Vince Carter, he looking to shoot more jumpers and he looked good in preseason shooting threes. So hey, that's something to look after for, but. Top four, I'm looking at Philly, Milwaukee, Boston, Brooklyn. The bottom four, you can go Detroit, who got Derrick Rose. You can go my Magic. You can go with Atlanta. You can go with Miami. You know, hey, Indiana. Let's not forget about Indiana now. We can go different ways here. For the bottom four seeds in the East, it's going to be interesting to see how the East going to go. But we'll talk more about the East when I get Gabriel from Unfiltered Access on here. Let's go ahead. We're going to shift over to the West because, as mentioned, Kevin Durant left Golden State. Where I talk about what the Lakers acquired and what the Clippers acquired. Utah got Mike Conley. No Klay Thompson for Golden State, so Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and the crew going to have to hold it down without Klay Thompson. Let's see what they do. You know, we already talked about Utah, Mike Conley. Down to mention, we're going to know about that. Denver, San Antonio, Dallas. Houston. Russell Westbrook, James Harden together again. Let's see how that goes. But this time the roles are reversed. This is James Harden's team. Now Russell Westbrook has to be the Robin to James Harden being Batman. See how that works out. Falls over at OKC to see how long he stays in OKC. But we already know it's going. Right now, Clippers, Lakers. Then after that, you can go anywhere. You can go Houston. You can go Denver. You can go Portland. You can go Golden State. You can go San Antonio, Dallas, Utah. You can go anywhere in the West. The West is loaded. Stupid loaded. The West is stupid loaded, people. It's stupid loaded. You don't know what's going to happen in the West. It's going to be the Wild Wild West all over again. We're just going to have to see who makes it on top. But right now, the battle for LA is the king of the crap right now before the NBA season starts. Can LeBron get back to being LeBron after having a full offseason for once in his career? Now he got Anthony Davis with him. Let's see if Anthony Davis can take the next step. But, man, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Patrick Beverly, Lou Williams, the Clippers. The Clippers are stacked. Oh, my gosh. Clippers got a better roster. So can AD and LeBron be enough for the Lakers over the Clippers? I don't know. But I'm going to have Justin on here. And we're going to get into that with the Western Conference Finals. So you're going to have Gabriel. You're going to have Justin. Both guys from Unfiltered Access. Gabriel going to bring you East. Gabriel's going to bring you the East. Justin's going to bring you the West. And we're going to see what's going on. But, hey, it is a lot to aspire about the NBA season. You have to love this season that's coming up for the NBA because it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be something to watch. I mean, it's going to be something to watch to see. We already know opening days, October 22nd, Tuesday. Unfortunately, we don't have Zion Williamson. He's going to be out for several weeks with a knee injury. It's unfortunate because his first game was going to be against the defending champs in Toronto Raptors. It was going to be the Pelicans and the Raptors. But when Zion does get back, Zion Williamson, Drew Holiday, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, got a young squad over there. Alvin Gentry, got a young squad. Can they stay healthy, though? Brandon Ingram has injury issues. Lonzo Ball has injury issues. You already see Zion Williamson's already injured and missing games already. Can you just get a team that can stay healthy for once and so we can actually see what this team looks like? But hey, no Zion Williamson. We have to wait. Most people see him as winning Rookie of the Year. RJ Barrett, he's over there in New York. I won't count him out. John Morant over in Memphis, replacing Mike Conley. I'm not going to root him out. So it is what it is, and then that's the 8 o'clock on TNT, and then 10:30 on TNT. It's the battle for LA. It's the Lakers and the Clippers, man. Round one of at least 4 in the regular season. Who knows what happens when they meet in the playoffs? My goodness, they meet in the playoffs. Just say that LA's gonna be stupid, but hey, it is what it is. That's opening night. ESPN, they got you on Wednesday. Boston and Philly. 7:30, then 10. You got the Nuggets and the Blazers. Oh my gosh, the opening games of this is gonna be good. Something to watch, something to see. Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. But we're gonna take a short break. When we come back, Gabriel from Unfiltered Access. We're talking Eastern Conference.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're going to get right to the Eastern Conference preview with my boy Gabe from Unfiltered Access. How's it going, man? It's been a while.
I'm good, man. How's everything been? Excited to talk some basketball.
Everything is going. So, hey, NBA is getting ready to start. And before we dive into the Eastern Conference Finals, let me ask you this. What are you looking forward to this NBA season?
I am looking forward to the newfound parity we now have in the league. I think everyone can agree that KD leaving the Warriors was good for the league overall because now we have probably like 8 to 10 teams that have a legitimate shot at saying that they can make the finals this year. So I'm looking forward to some like competitive regular season basketball from a lot of teams, and I'm looking forward to all the duos too, the both LA teams and the Rockets duo, a lot of great duos around the NBA. So I'm just excited for a really good competitive regular season.
All right. Sounds good. So we're going to talk about the Eastern Conference. And as before mentioned, Kevin Durant left the Warriors. He's with the Nets along with Kyrie Irving. but Kevin Durant will be out for the season. You have Bradley Beal signed a max deal before the season started.
Yeah, good for Bradley. He deserves it. But I think he's definitely a trade candidate because of that max deal, because a lot of contenders could use him. I'm pretty sure the Lakers wanted him last year. They could still try and get him this year, but he will definitely be a guy to look out for that Washington team that also has John Wall injured, unfortunately, with that huge contract. So this might be a big rebuilding year for the Wizards, and we'll see if Bradley Beal is a consequence of that.
Yeah. Al Horford left Boston. He's in Philly with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Also, as
Scary
mentioned,
team.
Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving left Boston to go to Brooklyn, but they brought in Kemba Walker. So the East lost, and probably the biggest story is Kawhi Leonard leaving Toronto after delivering a championship and going home to play with the Clippers.
Yeah,
East,
no, that's
it's
pretty big for the Raptors. Yeah, definitely. I think Kawhi leaving the Raptors has definitely made the East wide open this year, and definitely I don't think the Raptors will be considered a top team, although I do think they'll be good with Siakam and all the veterans they have with Ibaka and Gasol. So, but yeah, no, I think the biggest winner of Kawhi leaving is the Bucks because with Giannis there still, I think you might be looking at the top team in the East there.
So as we break it down the East, so Toronto made the playoffs, won the title. Philly still hasn't got up the hump yet. You had Milwaukee, as mentioned. We'll see how more improved Giannis has been. You had the Boston Celtics that stumbled towards the end of the season and in the playoffs. Surprising teams, Brooklyn made the playoffs, Orlando made the playoffs, Detroit made the playoffs.
Big shout out to Orlando. That was definitely unexpected, and I remember they took Game 1 from the Raptors too. That was when you look back at that, that's crazy. So we'll see if they can make the playoffs again this year. I'm pretty sure they'll have their naysayers again, but I wouldn't doubt them.
So looking at the East, how do you see the East as the season gets ready to start?
So I see the East as pretty top heavy right now. I feel that there are like probably two or three teams that are legitimate title contenders. So the Bucks are definitely, up there still. They still have Giannis, even though they lost Brogdon. They have Middleton, and I think that the Giannis will get even better and perhaps have an even better year than he had last year, which was an MVP season. So there's the Bucks, and then you also have the 76ers who are, they took the eventual champion Raptors to a game 7 and lost on a Kawhi bounce around buzzer beater. So they were right there, and the fact that they added Al Horford to that team, it's pretty good. But aside from those two teams, I think Boston is going to be good with Kemba, and Indiana is going to be very solid again because Oladipo is going to come back soon. But I view it as pretty top heavy, but I'm excited to see after those top 4 teams who's going to really step up. And I'm really liking the Miami Heat this year. I think they have a lot of underdog potential with Jimmy Butler, and I think they're a Chris Paul trade candidate. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of good teams competing in the East. But in terms of title contenders, I only see the top 2 as having a real shot at going and making the finals.
So yeah, you mentioned Miami. Jimmy Butler coming from Philly to Miami. I just
hmm
like that. But what does it say that even though Philly bought in Al Horford, they lost J.J. Redick, who's with the New Orleans Pelicans, and Jimmy Butler, who's with the Miami Heat?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jimmy Butler loss is pretty significant. I think because he was a big shot maker and he's good on both ends. We'll see if Tobias Harris can fill that role now that he'll have more shots and have, play the role that Jimmy sort of played last year. But I think that Jimmy loss is big, and yeah, no, JJ Redick, a very underrated loss as well. He was joking earlier that he made the playoffs his first 13 seasons in the league, so Zion has to step up and help him. Unfortunately, Zion can't do that until, like 3 weeks from now, so that's unfortunate. But JJ Redick is a very good player, and yeah, I think Philly will definitely miss them, but I think Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are going to have monster years, and hopefully that will overcome those losses.
Okay. Let's see. Toronto, the the first team outside of the United States to win the championship in the NBA.
Lead the North.
And Pascal Siakam got a new deal,
Hmm.
a huge deal. Does that say something about Kyle Lowry? Because is Kyle Lowry days numbered in Toronto?
I think that Kyle Lowry is a trade candidate at this point. They have Siakam and Anunoby and Van Vliet that they can build around a young core, and I'm pretty sure that if the Raptors aren't doing well, the sub team will want to take up Kyle Lowry's contract. So, yeah, I think his days in Toronto may be numbered, but listen, he's a Toronto legend. He really stuck by the team no matter what. He was sort of the only guy from those DeRozan years that really had that chip on his shoulder and carried it and helped deliver a championship for the franchise. So I hope he doesn't get traded because I couldn't imagine Lowry as anything but a Raptor. But if the Raptors, aren't living up to their standard, or if Lowry just feels that he needs to move on, then yeah, he might have to get traded. But I think that maybe he can build and sustain a culture around these young Raptors, and hopefully he'll be there for the entire season.
I'm gonna say this from last year, unsung hero, because everybody will look at Kawhi Leonard and Siakam, Kyle Lowry, but Fred VanVleet
Hmm.
during that playoff run.
Yeah, in that clincher, he was dropping threes everywhere, but that entire series as well, it was incredible.
I'm looking forward to see what he do now. Now that he has a championship under his belt, and most likely getting more playing time.
Yeah, listen, if Lowry gets traded, I mean, he's not a bad second option. So I expect him to get a lot of minutes, even if Lowry is there. He might be a sixth man of the year candidate this year because he's that good, and he proved this playoff run that he can make the clutch shots and definitely has that big play gene in him.
Let's talk about Boston because Kyrie Irving left. Here comes in Kemba Walker. Where
Yeah.
does this Boston team fit in the East before the season starts?
I think Boston is definitely the biggest wild card. I think the loss of Horford is very big, so they're gonna suffer from that a little bit in terms of defensively. But listen, if all their guys are healthy, I think that they can be a top three team in the East this year. So you have Kyrie leaving, which you know will probably help Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown improve their games a little bit more. I know they had a little bit of trouble adjusting to Kyrie's game, but with Kemba coming in, I feel like that's a better fit for the Celtics. So in terms of offense and getting the young guys clicking, I think the Celtics will be pretty good this year. And probably the biggest X factor for them is Gordon Hayward. If he can go anywhere near the Utah Gordon Hayward, then I think the Celtics will, possibly contend for the Eastern Championship. But there are a lot of question marks on this team, and we'll see how they answer it in the upcoming few weeks.
All right. So nobody saw Brooklyn coming. Nobody saw Orlando
Nope.
coming. And now you got eyes on Miami now. Three teams that normally people would not look for. How do you feel they would be this year?
I like the Heat. I definitely think they were a sleeper team. With Jimmy Butler, like I said before, but also Tyler Hero. He might be a rookie of the year type of guy coming in. He's ridiculous. So I really like the Heat. The Nets, I feel they'll be good. They probably will sneak into the playoffs just off of depth and talent. But without KD, that's definitely gonna hurt their chances at getting a top seed this year. And yeah, I don't know if for that last spot, it's probably going to be between Orlando and Detroit. And I honestly like Detroit. I like the fact that they got Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin is playing on for not only a contract but also for to build his legacy because I think he had a really good year last year. And you still also have Andre Drummond, so I'm just interested to see how those pieces mesh. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a dogfight for those bottom seeds between Detroit and Brooklyn and Orlando and Toronto. And who knows, maybe even Atlanta might pop in there with Trey Young and John Collins and all the young guys that they've have. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the race for the East, the Eastern Conference.
All right. Let me throw a couple of Facebook questions at you. This one comes from Trenton Bonds. If the Greek Freak gets a jump shot, what does that do for Milwaukee?
It makes them basically unstoppable, and it makes the Greek Freak unstoppable. The only thing that's lacking in this game is that 3-point jump shot and mid range. So if he could get a jump shot, not only will he win back-to-back MVPs, but the Bucks will most likely win the championship because he is that good already.
If he gets a jump shot, will he be a back-to-back MVP?
Oh, 100%, yes. And I don't know who can stop him, and yeah, it would definitely make them clear favorites in the East.
All right. Another Facebook question comes from John Turner. And side note, John Turner does a great job on covering sports, especially football. If you on Facebook, go to a football world group, join that. He just did some more. He just added some other groups like basketball stuff like that. I'm helping him with that. Join in, but he has a question about the Bradley Beal contract. Does the Bradley Beal contract is it good or bad for the Wizard and for John Wall?
Well, I think it is good for the Wizards because it makes him a very lucrative trade candidate. So I think that they would get a lot out of that deal in terms of either a first round draft pick or other good players. Because if someone signs Bradley Beal, they wouldn't have to worry about signing him to that max contract. So I think as long as Bradley Beal's value is high, like it is right now, that contract is definitely good for the Wizards and Bradley Beal. But it's not good for Bradley Beal that he's still on the Wizards and playing for them. And I think in turn, I think that means that if Bradley Beal gets traded, then John Wall could possibly get traded, but his injury makes his contract a lot worse and a lot less tangible for a lot of other teams to want to go after. So I think that Bradley Beal's contract is good for the Wizards and it's not necessarily good for John Wall unless he can come back healthy and he can get traded himself.
Okay. Where does the Wizards fit? Is the Wizards one of those teams that'll probably be fighting for the lower seeds?
Yeah, I think that they will, but we'll see what happens with Bradley Beal. If he gets traded before the trade deadline, then I could see them, joining the tank bull at the bottom. So, yeah, but I think with Bradley Beal and what they currently have with their present roster, I like Rui Hachimura, their first round draft pick. He's good. I like Thomas Bryant. So they have a good young team, but if Bradley Beal's on that team, then they could possibly fight for an 8th seed, but if not, they'll be near the bottom.
All right. So, as we know, the NBA season starts off on Tuesday, October 22nd, but we're going to go to October 23rd, that Wednesday, because we got the Celtics and the 76ers at 7:30 on ESPN. How you like that one?
Oh, man, I'm excited. We get the instant rematch between Al Horford and his old team. You have Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Kemba Walker, prime time. I'm excited to see how Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown step up this year. But, yeah, I think those will be the two of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. And it's a great way to start off the NBA season, and I'm excited for it.
Who you got winning that one?
I think the Sixers will win this one. There's a lot of hype, and I think that they have just enough talent between those two teams to win. But it'll be a dogfight between those two, like it always is. But I think the fact that Al Horford is on the Sixers will benefit the Sixers in this one, and I don't think the Celtics will have a chance in Philadelphia.
All right. Then Friday, October 25th, the Raptors are at the Celtics.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be a good one as well. I hope that the Raptors pull out their full lineup and with Kyle Lowry and Siakam and Gasol and Ibaka. So if they do and they don't do any sort of load management stuff that they did like last year with Kawhi and some of their veterans, it should be a very good matchup, and I'm looking forward to that too. First game at Boston, I think Boston's got that one, and I'm looking forward to see. I'm also looking forward to see how Enes Kanter does this year for the Celtics. So he's a really big X factor for them as well. So if he has a big night, I think that they'll beat the Raptors.
Battle for New York. The New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets get together. The
Oh
good one.
man,
R.J. Barrett and the crew.
yes sir. No, I'm looking forward to RJ this year as a Knicks fan. You know, we didn't get Zion, we didn't get Ja, two big misses, but I think RJ's a pretty good consolation prize at third. But listen, as a Knicks fan, I gotta admit the Nets have the better structure right now, and even without KD, they have a really good team right now with Kyrie. So they're probably gonna beat up on us sometimes. You know, we have a young rookie team, but I think we could get a few punches back in. But yeah, I'm looking forward to all those Battle of the Boroughs.
And then Saturday, October 26th, my matches are at the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited for that one. I think there's a lot of young talent on display right there. Uh, I really like Atlanta. I think that they're the biggest sleeper team in the East this year with Trae Young in his second year, John Collins in his third year, DeAndre Hunter that they drafted. They have a lot of young talent on that team, so I'm looking forward to that. And I think that the Magic will put up a fight with Vucevic, putting up a MVP caliber season again. But I really like the Hawks, and I think that they got that one.
And then finally, Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat going against the Greek Freak and the Milwaukee Bucks. That's on NBA TV on Saturday, 5 p.m.
Yeah, man. I think the Heat are going to be good this year, but I got the Bucks in that one. The Greek Freak. If he hits two or more threes, then they might win by 20. But regardless, he's the type of player to dominate that type of game. So I got the Bucks.
All right. Now, before I let you get out of here and put you on the spot, Eastern Conference Finals, who is it?
Oh man, I think that the Sixers are in there definitely, and the Bucks. I think it's going to be Sixers Bucks. And you want me to give you a winner?
Nah. So
All right.
Eastern Conference Finals, he got the Philadelphia 76ers and the Milwaukee Bucks going at it for a trip to the finals.
Yeah, no, I think those are the two best teams right now. So we'll see how it goes. But man, I'm if that's a matchup, I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. All right, Gabe, appreciate it. We'll get you back on some more. Appreciate it. That's your Eastern Conference talk. I'll be back because I'm bringing Justin on. We're going to do the Western Conference Finals. So appreciate it, Gabriel. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, no problem, Darnell. Always a pleasure, man. Yeah, no, let's
Let
talk
the
some
people
more
know
basketball.
where they can get at you at.
Yeah, they can get me on Twitter. You can get me at Cats with an O, KATZ with an O, and yeah, you could catch me on Facebook and Instagram, Gabriel Kótaz. I'm gonna get some podcasting up in the works, so I'll let you know about that too. But I need more details on that later.
All right. That's Gabriel from Unfiltered Access. I'll be back with Justin. We're going to talk the Western Conference.
All right, have a good one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and I want to thank Gabriel for talking the East Conference with me. Now I got Justin from Unfiltered Access with me. How's it going? It's been a while.
It's been a long time, Darnell. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Very, very well.
Well, as you know, the basketball season is right around the corner. NBA is about to get ready to tip off. So before we dive into the Western Conference, what are you most excited about for the NBA season?
To be completely honest with you, I'm very interested in that Eastern Conference. Given that it is a very weak conference, I'm interested to see who's going to be the emerging stars from that conference. I think the East has a lot of young talent, and there's going to be a whole lot of first-time All-Stars coming from that conference, given that everyone, or mostly everyone, went to the West. But I'm thinking that, there's going to be a lot of first-time All-Stars, like Jaylen Brown comes to mind, or Pascal Siakam comes to mind. Guys within that top 4 teams in the East. I'm very excited to see how the young talent ends up developing, because we're getting into that time where we got Giannis and Embiid, some of these young cats coming up, taking the league by storm. I want to see who's going to join them within that generation.
All right. I like it. So we're going to dive into the Western Conference, and, after we get done, I'm going to throw a couple of social media questions about the West at you. So if you're ready to go, let's go with the Western Conference. So, as you know, the big story is the LA teams. Kawhi Leonard left the Toronto Raptors to go to the Clippers. He brought Paul George with him. The Lakers brought over AD to team up with LeBron James. KD left Golden State to go head out east. Klay Thompson is out pretty much for the whole season for Golden State, so it's pretty much Steph and Draymond Green's team for this year. Russell Westbrook was traded from OKC to Houston for Paul. You still got Denver squad. You still got the Utah Jazz squad. For the most part, you still got the San Antonio squad. So you got quite a few teams out there, but the biggest story is no Zion Williamson to start this season.
Yeah, that hurt my soul, man. That really hit home for me, because that was the biggest question mark for him. And it ended up coming true. It ended up coming into concern because, we saw what happened at Duke when he blew out his shoe. And we saw how he was already having a little scare during Summer League. And now this happens. It just validates all our concerns with Zion. And, wish him luck 100%, want him to see him on the floor. But it's either he's got to change his game, or, he's going to have to I think he's going to have to change his game and dial it back a bit. But, he's got time to, reflect, see what he needs to do to improve and bounce back from this. But, definite blow to the league, in my opinion.
Well, I like to watch First Take because, I love Stephen A. Smith. And when they broke the news as the show was going off, he was saying he got reports saying it's possible that they might want Zion Williamson to lose some weight.
Yeah, he is a big dude, not going to lie. I'm pretty sure he ranked heaviest in college basketball last season, and just at 6'6", so very Charles Barkley-esque, if I do say so myself. But, I will say that Zion is a freak of nature. He is a God-given talent, once-in-a-generation athlete. But we need to see if he could all put it together. That is the one question mark. And if he could just stay on the floor. And, we all wish him the best. But we got to see that in order to crown him.
Yeah. So that being said, we're not gonna talk about the Lakers team yet. I'm gonna say that for last. So let's dive into Russell Westbrook is teaming with James Harden over in Houston now.
Daryl Morey did a great job with that. One of his few good news with that ever since the whole China conspiracy and whatnot. But Daryl Morey did a great job in pulling off that trade. He got rid of a really terrible contract in Chris Paul, an aging superstar. And he's kind of walked himself into that booby trap by signing him for that much. But Daryl Morey pulled the trick out of his ass, if you could say, with the whole Russell Westbrook transaction. And I think it will totally pay off for Houston. Because this dates back to high school days with James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Russ went to Lusinger down in LA, and then Harden went to Artesia in Compton. And both are, I guess you could say, rival schools, but they were well acquainted with each other in high school, and they played Russ's first 4 and James's first 3 years of the league at OKC. So, I mean, I don't understand why people are saying that this is going to be a competition of who's going to initiate offense or who's going to have the highest usage rate. This is obviously James Harden's team. And I think that the Rockets fare better with James Harden as the primary ball handler, but having a second weapon like Russell Westbrook, relentless, athletic, monster, assassin, just, I believe, gives your team a dynamic that Chris Paul could not give. Chris Paul was a great tactician, a great strategist, a great leader, maybe a better leader than Russ, but in terms of talent, in terms of skill, and in terms of just all-around athleticism around the team, Houston got better this offseason.
Seeing that, I think Gerald Green is injured right now, so that could hurt a bit.
That will hurt the shooting, but they still have PJ Tucker and they still have Eric Gordon, and they're still really filled with shooters, in my opinion. Sure, you lose a lot of shooting with Chris Paul gone, but I still believe that the Rockets have a lot of talent. They even picked up a guy like Ben McLemore to kind of supplement. I mean, he's an athletic wing that can shoot the rock. Maybe not the best defender, but when you're running a D'Antoni system, there's no defense prioritized within that system. You're going to outscore teams and you're going to try to average 130 points a game if you're running in Houston. So I just think that, having Ben McLemore and even a guy like Steph Alosha who can shoot the ball and who can play defense on the perimeter, there were big pickups with this offseason for Houston.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the whole Daryl Morey thing and whole China thing, but it's, for me, when I look at Houston, it's going to be interesting to see how Russell Westbrook fares in a different role now, because he's not the man no more. As you said, it's James Harden's team. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out, because, Russell Westbrook, he used to being the man, even at KC. Everybody said it was Carry the Rent, but Carry the Rent didn't act like Russell Westbrook was the one acting like it was his team.
Yeah, back in OKC, it was totally, even when it was the big three, or for like that 2 to 3 year span with Harden, Westbrook, and Durant, I still believe that Russell Westbrook thought he was the best player on the team and wanted to be the leader of the team, even though we all undisputedly believe that Kevin Durant was the far better talented player. But yeah, this is going to be a very maturing and humbling process for Russell Westbrook. Maturing in the fact that he has to take a backseat and sacrifice the leadership role. But if you really look at it, you can make the argument that Paul George was the better player last season for OKC when it was him and Russell Westbrook. And sure, we may think that Russell Westbrook is the heart and soul of that OKC team, or was the heart and soul, given it was last year. But we can undisputedly say that Paul George was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate and an MVP candidate that season. So at the end of the day, this is all an ego shaping season for Russell Westbrook and for the rest of his career. We need to see him mature and understand that this is James Harden's team.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Utah Jazz got Mike Conley from Memphis.
And I like
Dallas.
that pickup.
Dallas got Kristaps Porzingis from New York. Most people ain't talking about the Utah Jazz and the Dallas Mavericks. How do you feel about both of these teams when it comes to the West?
I think Utah is a very legitimate championship contender, in my opinion. Championship in the sense that if everything goes right with the Utah Jazz, then we have a legitimate argument for them to make the finals. And what I mean by that is Mike Conley's got to pan out with the team. Donovan Mitchell has to make the leap forward. And the Bogdanovich pickup needs to pan out for them. I think having Bogdanovich is a very valuable pickup because it adds more shooting It adds way more perimeter shooting and offensive creativity for Utah that I thought kind of lacked last year because, I mean, sure, you kind of lose Jay Crowder, but you don't get a dead-eye shooter like Bogdanovich. Like, you just pick up a dead-eye shooter like that along with Joe Ingles and Mike Conley, who could shoot it, and Donovan Mitchell. You have 4 shooting threats now on your starting lineup. And sure, Gobert is Gobert. Gobert is your defensive stalwart. I really like Utah because they're a bunch of veterans, and their best player is entering his 3rd year, I believe. And I'm liking how he looked in FIBA play. He looked really well in the World Cup, starting with Kemba and the boys in Team USA. But if Donovan Mitchell can make that leap to become an all-star, another first-time all-star in my opinion, if he can make that leap forward, I think Utah will be a very scary team. In terms of Dallas, I like the Porzingis pickup. I mean, it's not a new pickup, but it's going to be a new face for the season. But this is Luka Doncic's team. This is not Porzingis' team. In my opinion, this is the team goes where Luka takes them. And for a second-year guy, we may see the sophomore slump. He may hit the sophomore slump because there's a lot of film on Luka. Luka took the league by storm because he was the anomaly. He was this playmaking small forward that can shoot the rock and can create offensively for himself and for his teammates. I really like Luka Doncic, but the league is adjusted now. I mean, we even see LeBron James playing point guard, and we have Ben Simmons playing point guard, where the formula for having your guard that initiates your offense doesn't have to be 6 feet to 6'4". He can be 6'8" and higher. So I think that Luka, there's just going to be a lot of film on Luka. A lot of teams are going to hone in on him, and his playmaking ability is really going to show. But having a guy like Porzingis, having that unicorn doesn't hurt at all for Dallas. Do they make the playoffs? We're straddling there. They may be 7 or 8, but I see teams like Portland. I see teams like San Antonio, and I see teams. Well, I was going to say New Orleans, but I mean, maybe Dallas squeaks by. Maybe they just squeak by a game or two, just at the 8th seed.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna get into. With the focus being on the LA teams and the Zion Williamson and New Orleans Pelicans, really haven't been much talk about the Golden State Warriors, Portland Trail Blazers, San Antonio Spurs, and the Denver Nuggets, who all 4 were playoff teams last year.
Yeah, I think the reason why we're not talking about them is because they took considerable losses, or their team has just been completely the same, or the core has been the same. So in that case, we can make the argument that continuity can bring you into the playoffs and can get you home court advantage in the playoffs. But when it comes to playoff play, that's when it gets a little bit misconstrued in terms of continuity. My prime example, and you're going to have to bear with me being the Raptor fan, but the Toronto Raptors, the last year of LeBron James's Cleveland days, the Toronto Raptors were the number 1 seed in the East because they kept the core of their team. They had DeMar DeRozan, they had Kyle Lowry, they had Ibaka, they had Valanciunas, and they had a group of guys that played together for about 2 to 3 years prior, while the entire league has switched and has traded and has signed new players to retool the rosters. The Raptors kept their team. But when you see the playoffs, LeBron James literally dismantled them and surgically removed every little strength that they had. It was amazing, in my opinion, because you would think that continuity and playing with a team for years and years and years can translate to playoff play. But at the end of the day, teams like Portland, teams like Golden State, teams like San Antonio, even though they may not have the talent, but they have the system and the continuity to go with it, they're still going to be top 4 in terms of regular season standings, but they will not thrive in the playoffs because when the game slows down, talent shows and talent shines through. One-on-one play in isolation is more reliant in offensive play. And the way I see it, when you have a team like the Clippers and the Lakers, they may not be the number 1 team in the West. They may not even be number 2 or number 3. They may be 4 or 5. But when it comes to playoff time, the stars will come out and they will carry the teams forward.
I think you just did a hot take just then.
I'm liking Portland. Out of the 4 teams that you're saying, I'm liking Portland and I'm liking Denver. Denver showed very well, and I mean, if they can keep building with Jokic and Murray and those guys improve, and Gary Harris can stay, or I mean, he is a tradable asset. The way I see it, Denver can make a move in the middle of the regular season when it comes to trade deadlines. I think that they're a very below the radar or under the radar team to land a guy like Bradley Beal. If Denver could pull off a trade where they pile up a bunch of their assets, like guys like Torrey Craig and guys like Michael Porter Jr., if they can show a little bit of positivity in their games, and then to top it all off, because Washington's going to need a true asset to it, throw in Gary Harris. I think Gary Harris, Michael Porter Jr., Torrey Craig, throw a couple draft picks, and Washington will totally eat that up and give away Bradley Beal. And the rebuild for Washington will begin, and the championship contention for the Nuggets become legit. That's something that can happen. And Portland, they picked up Whiteside, and they've always needed a big man presence to pair with one of the best backcourts in the NBA. So I just think that, Portland and Denver are 2 very sneaky teams because they're, again, continuity and everything, but they have stars on their teams. It's not like they're the old Spurs where they were teams where they were playing for 10 plus years with no true superstars and no true go-to players. Denver has a franchise player that they're building around, and so does Portland. So I think that those 2 teams are very sneaky in the West.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the topic that everybody's been talking about, the battle for LA. The Lakers traded for AD, and it's like, oh, here come the Lakers again. LeBron has done it again. But Kawhi Leonard. And Stephen A. Smith words, he pulled off a heist by getting Paul George to come with him to the Clippers.
Yeah, I was kind of pissed because, I'm forever grateful for that one championship he's given us. But there were reports where we could have gotten Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard. But the only problem was that we would have to throw out our entire roster for those 3 contracts. And only time will tell what would have happened, but that right now, having a big 3 like that sounds near unbeatable to me. But this whole Kawhi Leonard situation, he's home. Will he want to play at the end? We'll see. I mean, the way I see it is almost like when a player gets his max contract, they may not want to work for it anymore. They may just take the money and hide back in their shell because they don't have to work hard for their money anymore. But we'll see. Maybe Kawhi Leonard just wanted to be home. Maybe he didn't care about the money because he's already had a max contract. So, I mean, who knows what'll happen with Kawhi, and is he healthy? That's another big question to ask. Is Kawhi Leonard healthy in this whole fiasco that is the LA Clippers? Because, we'll see if they're going to load manage him the way Toronto did. But
Who?
I want to
Who's the better
say
squad, the
top to
Lakers or the
bottom, the
Clippers?
Clippers. In terms of defense, I really want to say the Clippers. The Clippers can have 3 of the top 5 defensive players in terms of perimeter defense in the league with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Patrick Beverly. They have Montrezl Harrell, who is a great power forward, but he is playing center, which is something that is a little bit concerning with the Clippers. If we're going to compare characteristics between the Lakers and the Lakers totally beat them on size. They're going to kill them on the rebounds. They're going to they're basically a very deep team with a bunch of vets, but the Clippers have a lot of young guys too. They have Landry Shamet. They have Montrezl Harrell, who is relatively young in my opinion compared to guys like Lou Will and Patrick Beverly. But I like the Lakers too. I think the Lakers are going to be very dangerous come postseason because Anthony Davis is finally in a situation where he wants to be, and not all the weight will weigh onto Anthony Davis's shoulders. I mean, you have LeBron James, for Christ's sake. LeBron James is if the greatest player in our generation, if not one of the best. And having an experienced vet or legend, for that matter, with LeBron James totally helps Anthony Davis's situation. And he's making all of his teammates better. I mean, looking at the preseason games, him running point, it very much looks like LeBron James has retooled his mindset of the game. I always saw him as this locomotive that can score whenever he wanted, and sometimes had tunnel vision. Now I'm seeing LeBron James as this true point guard facilitator. He really looks like Magic Johnson out there. I'm not gonna lie, and it's scary to think that LeBron James is doing this at 34 years old.
So yeah, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. So let me get a couple of questions in here for you on the Western Conference. Mike Ingbloom on Facebook has the question of how will LeBron and Anthony Davis
I think
match?
I think Anthony Davis is going to be averaging more points than LeBron, more rebounds obviously, and more blocks. But I really anticipate LeBron to tap into a new level when it comes to playmaking. I think he has a lot of players on the floor for him to kick out to in terms of shooting. But that duo, if we're talking about how the two are going to mesh, I think that we just got to see how Anthony Davis is, because we don't know a lot of Anthony Davis's personality, his own mantra, we just don't know who this guy is really. We just know him as the big man who's tall and long and has the unibrow. That's how we really see Anthony Davis. This is going to be a very revealing season of Anthony Davis, because not only is he in a big market like LA, but he's actually in a championship contending team. And all eyes will be on Anthony Davis. And we need to see how he is going to handle that pressure, because we already know what LeBron is made of. I still think that Anthony Davis has a lot to prove, even though we've seen him go to a number of All-Star games and be in contention of Defensive Player of the Year. We need to see some moxie and some personality from Anthony Davis, and then we can see how the two will mesh.
All right. Our buddy Alex from Unfiltered Access, he chimed in on Facebook. You talked about it a little bit, but going in more detail, because he's excited about Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, that duo right there. And we both know Alex loves anything.
Alex loves anything in Texas. I mean, he's the diehard Cowboys fan, right? He's Mr. Big D, Mr. Dallas, Mr. Texas. But yeah, I'm liking it too. I'm thinking that it is a very similar situation to LeBron and AD, because I think Kristaps will average more points, more rebounds, and more blocks than Doncic. But again, I think Doncic is going to tap into a completely new level in terms of playmaking. I am interested to see how if Kristaps Porzingis' presence will stun Luka Doncic's development and growth as a player, but again, I still see this as Luka's team. I see this as the Mavericks going as far as Luka takes them. But we'll see. We'll see. Only time will tell with these things.
Okay. All right. Before I let you get out of here, opening night, LA, Lakers versus Clippers, round one. Who takes it?
With I'm gonna have to say the Lakers. I mean, there's no Paul George in this matchup. And Kawhi Leonard is it's basically Kawhi Leonard, a bunch of defensive guys, and Lou Williams coming off the bench. I think that this is going to be it's going to be a close game at that. I think it may be within 2 or 3 possessions. But yeah, when it comes down the stretch, I expect Kawhi Leonard being on LeBron, and I expect LeBron having some sort of trouble against Kawhi when it comes to fourth quarter play. If we're gonna really project this, I think that the Lakers are going to show their shooting ability. They're going to show their playmaking ability. But we'll see, because Doc Rivers has a great system and a great culture with the LA Clippers. And Doc Rivers has pedigree, Doc Rivers has history, and Doc Rivers has a team. He actually has a team with him compared to the last couple of years where he's been rebuilding and retooling with the pieces that he has. The Clippers are legit, even without Paul George, but I'm just saying that because I just have no faith in Frank Vogel. I think Frank Vogel is, I think he was just blessed with a really good team when he was in Indiana. And I don't even think the Lakers are trying to land Frank Vogel as the long-term head coach. I really think it's Jason Kidd. But we'll see. LA in this matchup, the Lakers, might I say, they are the far better talented team in this matchup without Paul George in the lineup.
So that's opening night, and get a couple of quick picks out of you for Wednesday, because you have OKC is at Utah.
I'm liking Utah.
That one real quick?
I think everyone's going to pick Utah, but we'll see. We know OKC doesn't have a plan for Chris Paul. They don't have a plan for Chris Paul in the future. I'm hoping they deal him quick, because Chris Paul deserves to be on a championship contending team. And OKC deserves to start off fresh. They do have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I think he's going to be one of the cornerstone pieces for the team. But yeah, I think they got to deal with Chris Paul, and I think in that matchup, I just see Utah as a far more talented team, too overpowered for OKC.
All right, Denver is at Portland, 10 p.m. ESPN that Wednesday night.
I'm liking that. I'm gonna tune in for that one. That one is the Western Conference semifinal rematch, right? That's looking nice. I really want to say Denver, but we're looking at a fresh CJ McCollum and a fresh Damian Lillard. And sure, we may be looking at a fresh Nikola Jokic and a fresh Jamal Murray. But I really want to see Denver play Michael Porter Jr. I think Michael Porter Jr. can be that one piece that they were missing. Because I think that Denver was really missing wing scoring. They were missing wing scoring, and they were missing just a secondary scorer that can create his own shot. And I mean, I think that Denver, if Michael Porter Jr. pans out, Denver really made a steal in that draft. But Yeah, I really wanna sway to Denver on this matchup. I think Hassan Whiteside is great. I think he's gonna have a great game, even though Jokic is gonna be in the middle. But I think Denver is gonna take.
All right. Last thing before I let you get out of here, I'm putting you on record, Justin. What's the conference finals? Who will be facing off?
Boy, it is a tough one. I really, again, I think it's gonna be the Lakers and the Clippers, but I think the one thing that we have very, very much neglected during this section of the podcast is the greatness of Steph Curry. I think that, and don't get me wrong, this is a very hot take, and Golden State is very much my dark horse in the West. But if Steph Curry becomes MVP Steph Curry from 73 win season, then we're going to have a problem, because Steph Curry is the greatest shooter that any of us has ever seen in our lifetime, in the history of the game, for that fact. And I just think that if Steph Curry can zone in and the pieces around him can stick to their roles, then Golden State can make a legitimate argument to be in the Western Conference Finals. Do not count out Steph Curry, because Steph Curry has once averaged over 30 points and almost 10 assists in his MVP season. And Steph Curry is Steph Curry. He has not missed a beat, even when KD is there. Even when KD is there, he is the leading scorer on the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry is the heart and soul of the Golden State Warriors, and the Golden State Warriors will go as far as Steph Curry takes them. And in my opinion, Steph Curry can take them far.
All right. So we gave you a dark horse. Golden State went from championship team to
it's
dark
crazy
horse.
what one off season can do to you.
All right. Tell the people where they can follow you at and get in contact with you.
At on Instagram, Man of the Year. It is man.of.the.yr. And I'm always on the Unfiltered Access stream, so just check out any of the articles and any of the podcasts with the Playmakers blog. It's great, and love being here.
All right, that's Justin right there. You'll hear more from him as the season goes on in the NBA and then college rolls on. So thanks for talking to you, Justin.
No worries.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
On that Week 7 preview that you have up for the NFL. So much love to you, Darnell. Thank you so much. Absolutely.
Appreciate it, and talk to you later.
All right, guys, you heard from Gabriel. You heard from Justin, both guys from Unfiltered Access. I had pleasure doing work with them last year, talking NBA and college basketball, so I brought them back again. The NBA season is getting ready to start. We got into a lot of stuff. You already know opening night, Tuesday night, October 22nd. Pelicans without Zion Williamson are at the defending champs, the Toronto Raptors, followed by the Battle for LA Part 1. LeBron James, Anthony Davis against Kawhi Leonard. It's Lakers and Clippers round 1. Then Wednesday night, you get more opening night action with Boston Celtics at the Philadelphia 76ers. That's on ESPN. Minnesota's at Brooklyn. The Knicks, led by RJ Barrett and the crew, are at San Antonio to take on Coach Pop. The Washington Wizards with the newly signed contract of Bradley Beal is taking on the Dallas Mavericks with Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic. OKC and Paul are taking on Mike Conley and the Utah Jazz. Jokic, Jamal Murray, the Denver Nuggets, taking on the Portland Trailblazers led by Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. That's 10 p.m. on ESPN after the Boston Celtics 76ers game. And other games to look for this week: Milwaukee and Houston on Thursday, October 24th. The Clippers and Golden State get together that night on TNT. Both games streaming on TNT. You got on your first Friday of the NBA season, Toronto is at Boston. New York Knicks is at Brooklyn. The battle for New York begins. The Wizards is at OKC. Dallas and the Pelicans get together, the Jazz and the Lakers get together. So you got some matchups going on, and then your weekend, my Magics. I love my Magics. They are at Atlanta to take on, the Hawks. The Heat with Jimmy Butler taking on the Greek Freak and the Milwaukee Bucks. The Celtics and New York Knicks get together. The Pelicans and the Rockets get together. That's Saturday. And your Sunday, the 27th, Golden State, OKC, Miami, Minnesota, Portland, and Dallas. So we got a lot of games coming up for opening week in the NBA. It's gonna be some good games. It's gonna be some great games to watch. We're in a new season. This season is not gonna be boring because we don't know who's coming out of the East. We don't know who's coming out of the West. So it is what it is. I'm not gonna give you my finals pick yet. I'm gonna give you my Eastern Conference Finals. For me in the East, I gotta go Philly and Boston, man. It's the way I gotta see it. Philly got better with Al Horford there. Even though they lost J.J. Redick, but they still got Al Horford. They bought in Al Horford. So I ain't gonna sleep on them. But Kemba Walker going to Boston over Kyrie Irving, I'm interested in that. I'm very interested in that. So I'm gonna look at the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics to battle out in the East. I gotta go with that. In the West, to be honest, I'm not gonna like it. I'm gonna hate it. But it is what it is. If I'm being objective, and it's talking from the beginning of the season right now, the battle for LA will be the Western Conference Finals. I'll have to pick because you got superstars on both sides, two-way players on both sides. LeBron James, Anthony Davis with the Lakers, Paul George when he gets healthy, and Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers. I mean, hey, what more can you say? What more can you want, man? It's the battle for LA. The battle for LA would be the Western Conference Finals. So a team in LA will be represented in the finals. So it is what it is. So I can't wait to see when Zion gets healthy to see his debut whenever that would be. I'm definitely looking forward to the battle of LA. See if King James can still be King James or this is Kawhi Leonard's era now. Like Justin said, I'm not going to forget about Golden State and Steph Curry. I'm going to see what the two-time MVP does. With him and Draymond, with no Kevin Durant and no Klay Thompson this season. Let's see how that goes. Jimmy Butler down in Miami. I want to see how Pat Riley and that crew gets it done down there. I want to look at my match. We shocked the world last year by making the playoffs and being as good as we are. Can we take the next step and be better than what last year was? Because last year was special. That was a special season for the Orlando. But can they do better? Coach Pop in San Antonio. I love Coach Pop. I love the Spurs organization. What do they have something to say? Along with Dallas, along with Denver. I'm not going to sleep on Denver this year. Jamal Murray and Jokic, the Joker, some bad brothers. Is Michael Porter Jr. going to be healthy? I can't wait to see him if he's healthy, we talk about Utah. Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, what they got going. See what they got, especially Houston. James Harden wasn't rested. That's all you need to know. James Harden wasn't rested. What they got to say. So the West is up for grabs. The East is up for grabs too a bit too, but the West is really up for grabs for the first time in a long time. The Wild Wild West continues to be the conference to look at, but the East is gonna be Milwaukee, Toronto, Boston, Philly. My Magic, see how they look, see how Miami looks, how Brooklyn looks with Kyrie Irving, even though they won't have Kevin Durant. It's going to be interesting to see how these things go. But, hey, right now, I'm looking at Philly, Boston, and the battle for LA as my conference finals in the East and the West. So that's pretty much what it is, Thank y'all for joining me today. Thank again to Gabriel and Justin for Unfiltered Access. Coming and giving my thoughts. You will get Brother Ken. Me and Ken gonna work out a schedule to get him on because y'all know he's one of the main ones with the Playmakers blog when it comes to basketball. So we'll get him on. If you haven't followed the podcast, subscribe to the podcast. We're on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, Castbox, Breaker. You know, we everywhere right now, and we just doing the best that we can and getting you ready for the NBA season. You can also check out our college football episodes, our NFL episodes, and our wrestling episodes, as we still gonna be doing those along while basketball season is coming in. And next month, I'll get you ready for college basketball season, because that's gonna be interesting to see as well. And I would love to see how my kid is gonna look this season down in Florida. So with that being said, leave us a review on Apple and iTunes, and follow us on Twitter at PlaymakersDuff. Follow us on Facebook, The Playmakers Blog. You can go to our website at playmakersblog.com. Check out everything on there. If you didn't catch the episodes that we put, the episodes will be on the website. So you have plenty of ways to listen to us and contact us and get in touch with us. So just do all that, and then let's kick back and get ready. It's the NBA season. It's here. It's now. Let's go.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.